I think what we need to do is father and son, and father and son will do a drum off.
Let's do it.
I'm down for that. I want to see it.
All right. Say your name,
Patrick, Livers?
and will you be coming to the Todd Zuckerman Masterclass?
Maybe. 50-50. Kenny?
Kenny's probably not going to come to the club. Hey, probably not. And who back here?
I'm Jordan. I want to.
Yes, good. And this is Zach. Everybody knows Zach? Zach is the guy who's making me a internet star. He does a good job of making me an internet star. He's doing it. Hey, I didn't get you.
Me? I'm Brian. I like to make noise.
All right, good. So the reference of the Todd Zuckerman clinic or master class is that he'll be here June 10th and 11th. So Wednesday and a Thursday. He's doing his V1 and V2 back to back. And each night is $200. It's a 3-hour plus. It usually goes over 3 hours. Master class, small group, 20 people or less. And I've been to one. Billy's been to one. It's incredible. You learn a lot in a short time, and he's very approachable and just a really nice dude. So he'll be hanging out.
10th and 11th?
10th and 11th of June, Wednesday, Thursday. It's booked. We'll start promoting it, and tickets will be available. So if the $200 seems a little bit tough for you, you can make payments up to the class. How's that? I'll put you on a payment plan. $20 a week or whatever. We're talking about Todd Zuckerman.
Oh, cool.
He'll be here in June.
That's gonna be awesome.
Huh?
No?
No, it's really. He says all levels, and it is all levels. It really is, and it's great. It really is a great. It's a great program.
The last one I went to, I had a friend of mine that had been playing for less than a year, and he loved it.
Yeah, you get a lot out of it. So he's great. The other thing is there's been a lot of drummers getting in touch with me about coming in and doing clinics here. Some of those cats are people you don't even know, but they've played, their list of people they've played with are like Joe Satriani and Bonamassa, and they're real players. But they're coming through town to play a gig somewhere else, and they've got a day off, and they're going to come in and do clinics. So be on the look for that stuff. There'll be some happening in March. There'll be some happening in April, and then in May also. So there's a Yamaha guy that called me about doing something here. He'll be coming through town. He's got a book out. This Wayne Salas, what is it, Zach? Yeah, you don't know what it is. He's a DW guy, but he's got a book out as well. So a lot of cats coming through to do that. Also want to remind you next week, Jason from King's Custom Snare Drums. I don't know if you've heard of this guy. He's actually here in Louisville. He was in Jersey. He moved here, and now he's here building drums and building really, really fine snare drums. He's going to bring a bunch of snare drums in here. He just did the Delaware drum show. He does the Nashville Music City show. He does Chicago. He sells a lot of really cool drums. Builds wood drums, metal drums. Very cool. He's going to come in and discuss his drums and his drum building. Then the following week is Drumioki. And the theme is what, Barry?
80s rock music.
80s rock music. That's a wide range. It could be The Cure, or Van Halen, or Metallica, or whatever you want it to be. I don't care.
I had my wife pick my song.
It's good.
Because there was...
Hope it's a love song.
It's not. Well, I don't know. I guess it could be. I'm not going to go into it, but there was a whole decade pick a song.
Yeah, pick
from
one
that-
song
from the
out.
80s,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
what,
like,
yeah.
my brain hurt.
Yeah. There's too
So
much
I was
there.
like, hey, pick a song for me to do.
She got it, huh?
The good old days.
Yeah, there you are. And Zach will be running that because I'll be out of the country. So Zach will be running that night. And if anything happens, it's Zach's fault. Zach's fault. And Zach has to play part of a song. First bar of a song. He's starting to play drums. He's a beginner. He's taking lessons from Jordan.
There you go.
Great. He's taking lessons from Jordan. Let's hear it. Woo, Jordan. Yeah, so he's taking lessons from Jordan, and he's learning how to do it. So karaoke's that next week, and then the following week, the guy who builds these copper drum sets over here, the Lucky Drums, will be here in person with a bunch of cool drums, and he's going to tell us how he builds those things. It's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And really nice guys from Atlanta, and we're excited about that. And he's going to have a whole week of, since it's Lucky Drums and he's Irish, he's going to have a whole week of sales going on.
I want to see it green.
Yeah. See what?
I want to see him green.
Oh, yeah. I think the one he's bringing maybe have green in the yeah tarnish like that.
Yeah, rest of them.
Yeah, he puts them in a garbage bag or something. I think it's something weird like that. Yeah, with some sort of liquid. Lets it sit overnight. So he'll be here the following week, and then Jeff McAllister, who's a local drummer around here, has played with a lot of people. He's doing a clinic at the end of the month here on a Thursday night. So you guys get a free clinic from him. He's bringing his drum kit in. Whole deal. Wow. Just so you know. All right. So I have known Matt Taul since he was really young, because I knew his dad. Because his dad played around and had an incredible right foot, as I remember.
Yeah, it was. He was
Real
good.
fast right foot. Had a real fast right foot. And was a great rock drummer. And so then I knew Matt through that. And then Matt started putting a situation together. He'll explain a little more about that. But he's putting a situation together, and that turned into Days of the New. And then from there went on to play with Tantric. And with Days of the New, he did a lot of touring. They opened up for Metallica on their outdoor festivals in the summer, and a billion other bands that we all love. They opened up, or the other band opened up for them. And then the Tantric situation was the same way. They toured all over the place, did a handful of records, and I was fortunate enough on the Tantric records to be Matt's drum tech for those.
Heck yeah.
It was a lot of fun. We had a really cool time making those records.
Yes, it was.
And so I got to set up his drum set and help him with the cymbal selections, and we put it all together and made them sound amazing. And
I'd say just about every kit from the beginning. If I didn't buy them from you, we designed them together.
yeah, we did
know,
all the sonar stuff. I mean, everything that he got. Yeah, he was a sonar
He's got
guy.
a great ear, man. I always went with your word on it, for durability or finish or whatever. You always knew a guy, so you always get a hold of Max. It's like, hey, what? Run it past him. You might not want that. Hey, check this out. But no, we built a few nice sonar kits together. Max was involved in all of it. Yeah,
Killer he was a Sabian guy. Played all the Sabian stuff. Yeah.
Well, the first Tantric album was actually all your old sonar gear. That was before my sonar gear came in.
That's right.
I wasn't endorsed yet, so we used all of your old.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you still have that stuff or not, but gosh, you came down with 2 trucks full, your truck stuffed full.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of selection, but it was old sonar stuff, I believe.
Yeah, it was.
I can't remember the exact snare drums. I wish I could.
I had a bunch of them. I brought some Superphonics.
Oh yeah, man, we had a good time with those.
Yeah, we had a great time putting
the first Tantric album. Yeah.
It was really a lot of fun.
You stayed down there with us, the whole shebang,
fun.
man. Yeah, it was great.
We did some karaoke.
Yeah, we did do some karaoke.
Yeah, we did.
You did karaoke.
I did karaoke. Yeah.
I'm a great watcher of karaoke.
So Matt, let's start from the beginning when you started playing. What? Obviously, because your dad played, that's really kind of probably what
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I was thinking about it the other day. So my mom and them would put me in the. So my dad would set up to practice in the living room. We lived in a trailer next to my grandparents. Grandparents had a lot of land. They was living in a trailer, going to build a house. But anyways, they put me in the other room, and it was in the '70s. So the headphones are really junky. They would go in your ear kind of. But I was a little bitty, and they didn't want my ears to get hurt from the jamming in the living room and go in there and shut the door. And back then, you know, it was early '80s, so a little bitty junky TV. So I'd pull them things out, open the door, take off running. And the only place they couldn't get to me is behind Dad's drum kit. And like he said, Dad's got a fast right foot, and that was interesting to me since I was little. So in my diaper, I'd run around there, and then he would always come to my defense. He'd say, "Just let him be, you know, leave him alone." So, you know, of course, that just every time they could set me up there, I'd hit and make noise. So they knew it was going to happen. A lot of the musicians there would just, you know, stomach it and let me jam with them a little bit as I'm growing up, you know. So it was odd to me when people didn't know how to play drums. I thought everybody knew how to play drums. That's just the way, you know what I mean? It's just what happens. I don't remember learning or doing anything. It was just the coolest thing to do, you know. Everybody comes around, you get to make a lot of noise, show off a little bit, and have a good time, you know.
So then, how did the Days of the New thing come together? How did that start?
You know, school time friends. You know, Jesse and I were in the same grade. Travis went to a different school. We lived in the same town, but him and Jesse was jamming, and then also Jesse and I was jamming, and he brought us together. I remember Jesse's a pretty big guy, and compared to me, and I would ride my moped to school, and I rode it a little too young, so they'd get mad at me for, you know, bringing it, but I would hide it around the corner. Well, he'd bring his bass and get on the back of that. So Big Jesse's on the back with his bass on this moped. We'd drive home and do practice, and then so he called Travis over, and we just, you know, since we had the stuff set up, just started jamming. And again, my parents were cool enough to stomach letting some kids learn how to play music. So I think that's a lot of it for, you know, just letting us get away with it. Because, you know, when you turn some kids loose with a PA, you know, it's they come in sometimes. We can hear you in town, man. You know, it's like, oops.
And when you guys put that together, you were probably playing some covers because y'all like
Sure.
yeah, y'all had a lot of the same influences you like.
Tool was big. Oh, I love Tool. Danny Carey. I mean, gosh, he's awesome. Then you move into the later '90s. I started getting into the Dave Matthews, the Carter Beauford, and guys like that. I love the technical players. Always been into Dave Weckl, but yeah, we got into Tool. Just all the cool stuff that was out back then. The Rob Zombie stuff, the real White Zombies, not the after, you know, the real guys. That was a good album. We did something off there, something off the first Tool album. Metallica, I'm sure, you know, that was everybody's. When you're a kid, that's a big influence. I won't take it from the guy. I mean, they're good. You know, they run a good deal there, good business. But yeah, I guess it was a lot of those bands. We did a lot of covers, just whatever was, you know, doing free parties and stuff like that, playing just whatever's on the radio. We handpicked all the coolest stuff because we didn't care. You know, we wrote our own stuff really from the beginning. To be honest with you, the covers was short lived. I mean, we just started writing, but we would have 17-minute songs. You know, you know, there would be 3 or 4 songs, a mini album in one song, but you know, it was all great parts. They were just kind of squashed together, you know. Yeah. Hey, but that's how you learn. I mean, you can take all the classes and read and theory all you want, but until you're out there under the lights playing, you know, you're really not going to, you know, depending on if you're going to be a session player or playing on stage, you know, until you're out there getting your boots wet, you know, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's we did a lot of fun stuff, but we started writing early. We just figured, you know what, we're not going to make any money doing it anyways with heavy metal, so we might as well write and have a good time, you know. And so it got it was natural for us to just write songs together, you know, like building a house, I guess you'd say. We'd all just come together, and our influences would just just hack it out and discuss it. You know, it's cool. I like it that way.
And then they got signed. You all got a deal.
Yes, yeah. We did the we opened up for Gary. Gary had it was the harvest show or no, it was harvest. You would donate
Oh yeah.
you would donate to Campbell's soup.
Yeah, the radio station had it. Yeah.
You donate cans to get in, and there was scout teams from Detroit and different places, and Gary gave us 3 songs, and we got off stage, and they said, "Guys, we'll be getting a hold of you. We're probably going to make a record." So we got to go on with Gary, and then when he came out of the studio, it was open for us because it was already paid for, so we tagged along, and that was most of the part of the first day's record. And yeah, so we had a management team just pushing the you know what out of it, and then Metallica, those guys were so awesome. I mean, we started touring, and it was Kenny Wayne Shepherd and stuff like that. Well, we'd only played like the Boot Hill Lounge or something, when we had a band house, and we're underage, sneaking in the back door, sneaking out the front door. And so like our first, we got signed so early, our first gig was in front of, 10,000 people with Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and it was a trip. We was, I don't know if I want to hear it or not, but we got through it, and then we just started working on our craft from there on, on out. Metallica was awesome enough to give us a slot, and Metallica fans, you know how they are. That first they're booing you because you're not Metallica, and plus we was all acoustic, so you can imagine all the bands,
Oh yeah.
amps blaring and everything, So at first they didn't take us in very well, but by the third one we won them over because we was a heavy metal band anyways. We just unplugged and toned down, but by heart we was hard rock, heavy metal, So live it was a little more aggressive than the record was. So it worked out, and as soon as those fans accepted us, then it went. So thanks to Metallica for doing that for us. I mean, it went.
Yeah, then the song started breaking and the whole deal
it
went crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it went nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So we spent the whole summer with them, and that was pretty early on. We were really young, so.
Yeah.
I think I was 17, turning 18, and Travis was a year and a half, almost 2 years younger than us. So what was that?
How old are you now?
I'm almost 50 now. Yeah, I think I'm 47, 48, 47.
When did Todd come into the picture?
So Todd came in. So actually, Travis was working at Mom's Music
yeah.
in Louisville, and Todd was in the store hanging out. He was taking some classes somewhere on theory and all this different stuff. He'd always been into playing jazzy, and Travis and him met, and he brought him to practice, and we was like, hey, Travis singing and everything. Travis does a lot of the leads too, but it was a good thing coming in, and then Todd's attitude and everything, and his, he's just a great guy. It's so much fun. So it almost seems like
he sings really well.
Super writer,
Yeah, good
singer, mixer. I mean, producer. He does it all. And my hat's off to the guy. He's awesome and a great man. But yeah, he came in, and it almost feels like he was there from the beginning. So much time has passed. You could almost imagine him being right there from the very beginning, but he wasn't far behind. I mean, when you're a kid, it seems like a long time, but it was only a year that we'd probably been together when Todd come in, so it wasn't like we were out beating the streets, So yeah, we'd only been together about a year, so he's been there almost from the beginning.
Yeah.
I know Todd, when he got his license, he was already in the band. So when he first got his license, I've been in his life since he got his first car. Myself too. So, daggone, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Jesse and Todd and I stay close. We're on the phone all the time.
Yeah, they did a record last year or year before last? Year before last.
That was 5 years ago.
What, that record?
It was.
No.
I'm telling you.
It was not.
Yes, it was. It
Was it
really,
really?
Yes, it made me feel weird. I was like, no way. 5 years ago, yes, it was.
That's weird.
It said 5 year ago memory on Facebook, and it already had that in it. And I'm like, no
Yeah,
way.
so he did a record with Todd.
It seems like,
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
Jesse, and they got another singer, killer singer. He used to sing
he's
with
awesome.
somebody else. Who,
yeah, that's Donald Carpenter, and
Yeah.
he's from Submersed and I Empire.
Yeah.
From the, Scott Tremonti, with the Creed camp. He did some stuff with them, and Yeah, they had that great album.
Yeah, it's a great record.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's,
it's called
he's just a. I mean, he
Blitzkrieg.
is
Bliss,
Bliss,
Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg. Yeah,
Blitzkrieg. And
Yeah,
look it up. It's
Blitzkrieg.
on it's on all the stuff. So
it's a really cool.
it's
cool
on
album.
it's on Apple Music.
That's
It's on
actu-
Apple Music.
That's what actually brought Todd and Jesse and I back together because you just get so busy, you just lose touch. And they called me one year and said, "Dude, we're going to do a record. You got to come down and do this." COVID hit and they gave everybody enough time to. So yeah, it was that year.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. And
yeah.
Todd was in Nashville, so they went
yeah,
down and did the record
yeah,
down there. It
Yeah,
was
he
great.
was working for Dirks Bentley, but he'd been off for the COVID thing, so we all just got together and it's like, dude, you got to do this, and same stuff. It was like we never stopped hanging. We're joking around, having fun right from the get. So we ain't lost contact since though. We used that Polo app, and about every day I talked to both of them. I was hoping Jesse would make it. He wanted to. He's Jesse with anything music. He's in. I was hoping he might make it still before the end, So, but yeah, it was snowing this morning. I was hoping. I was like, damn, it has to suck for him during the day. It was coming down pretty good. But no, yeah, it was.
Yeah, but that they did the first day's record. They did the tour, which was a long tour.
Yeah, we toured forever.
Then the second record came around. I know you did play on the second record.
As well as you
yeah,
did, yeah.
I played
Great sounding kit too. That
Yeah.
Babinga, DW Babinga kit,
Yeah, it was nice.
brand new. Did it have the gold hardware on it?
Yeah, he was nice.
Really, really, really nice kit, man.
Yeah.
That sounded great. That was one of the best drum sounds. That room. I mean, in general, that's just a great sound.
Yeah, they cut it at the
studio.
what was it called,
The Distillery Commons.
Distillery Commons. They cut it at that old room. It's a nice room.
Todd and I went back for the third album, and that one spot in there, facing when the control booth is to your left, right there's a sweet spot. If you walk around through there hitting everything, that's just where the drums go.
Yeah, yeah.
They're just facing that way,
They sound great in that space.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Really nice.
Yeah, because we ended up recording there later on, but Todd and I. But.
So we played on the second record, but then.
So yeah, I did maybe 3 songs, I think, and then that was when the big, the politics of the things that come along with, selling that many records, the evil part, so wasn't on one person, we all had our ways and stuff. So that thing, we part our ways. I don't know if the guys played on any. Now I know that a few of the songs Todd's got credit for that he had written.
Beforehand,
beforehand, that Travis used on the second record.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Jesse played on it or not. Like I said, I stayed for 2 or 3 songs, and then, you and I were coming back and forth doing. He was choosing different drummers for different songs, which makes sense. I mean, different flavors and stuff. So, I always love listening to Max play, but he sets the bar so high. You know what I mean? It's hard to come in behind him. But, yeah, we did that for a while, and. It didn't work out, so then we, Jesse and Todd and I was just like, well, we got to take these riffs and everything we have, and we can't just stop working, so that's what we did. We went to work around here. Jesse and I worked at Hooters. Jesse was a fry guy. I was.
You had the orange shorts?
Yeah. Jesse wore those. No. But no, so we did whatever, just like any musician. Whatever to stay alive, and waited for hopefully that Tantric would take off, and it did. We got ready for the whole process right here. I mean, Mom's Music has been one way or the other involved in the whole process, because I mean, anything I'm going to get, I'm going to run through him and make sure that I'm not, I'm getting good stuff, and we practiced right over there for the whole. We wrote the whole Tantric album in there together.
Yeah, did the pre-production and everything.
Yeah, we did it the old school way. We showed up as a band about every day. I mean, we owed like a ton of money but we showed up about every day, at the end of the day and practiced for 5 or 6 hours every night, and, just to be a good band does that. They just rehearse a lot. You just have to spend time together. I mean, even great musicians, you can wing it sometimes and be great, but to lock in, man, you just got to do that time together,
The good thing is that, like, Jesse and Matt and then Todd had so many hours on the road. They were just so locked in as a band that rhythm section piece of that came together so.
Oh man,
so,
Jesse's he's the best tool in the shed. That's your guy.
Yeah, and the two of them, they cut those tracks on their first record. They
We
were
did
like
too.
first or second takes, every one of them. Like
Yeah.
they may do 5 takes. It was always the first or second take on those.
We
man.
always rehearsed the record until it was pretty much done, and then we would go in and cut bass and drums together with scratch guitars and stuff, and then so that basement would be there, bass and drums. Jesse and I like to perform together. Of course the amp was somewhere else, and he's not. Sometimes he would come stand right beside me with his headphones, get that eye contact so we could really lock in. Yeah, and we would lay that foundation, and with his help too, the scratch guitars. I like to hear a little bit of the guitars to guide the way, to get that energy in there, of it all. But yeah, they'll take that, and then Jesse and mine part is done. We can go to a smaller studio or something, save a little bit of money. But yeah, Jesse's just something else, man. You have to have a good bass player for a good band. I mean, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
If you
I agree with that.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
did the first Tantric record, and y'all went out and toured it.
Yep.
And was it a van tour or a bus tour when you first went out?
Oh, it was a terrible van tour. I mean, it was the second time in the van again. The socks, people's laundry. I mean, what can you do? You're living in a van, and we had various different rides. And then Joe Stamper, of course, is longtime Mom's supporter, worker,
Yeah.
everythinger. And then he went with us, and so in the Tantric days, him and the crew took some abuse. I mean, for the band. I mean, it was some crazy stuff. We had a shuttle bus that was converted to a RV. I mean, I'm sure it was cool for a family for a weekend or something, but we're going around the whole United States, running 90, 100 mile an hour with a full, van full of gear. They were bad. Some of them were bad. I remember we were sitting one night, and Jesse taps me and he points, and I bet it was a roach that big crawling up the side, and we all just sat there that night like this, and driving down the road, nobody touched it, and finally something, we was in an old Van Hool, and we were out in Arizona or something, and it was one of those deals where you couldn't tell it was a hill, but you were going uphill, like you're a gradual uphill, the bus was just working as hard as it could. I got out and was beating it, walking, and it finally broke down, and so that's when we got the best bus. We got they sent a brand new Prevost, like, Star Trek, yeah, and we got one of our really good friends that stayed with us for a long time, driving us. But yeah, we had to finally, little did we know that we was paying for it though. We'd probably went for a couple years older, tried to save some money, but it was nice for a minute though, because we really struggled for a while. But we was paying our dues though. We went, all over the whole circuit with everybody. All the guys that's out now. Some of them survived, some of them didn't. But yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, you opened up or played with everybody.
Just about everybody, really.
Everybody.
The most recent, well, not most recent. It's been so long now, but let's see, the Staring Down the Barrel of the 45. What's that band? Oh, Shinedown. They started with us. They started their tour like right when they got their record deal and released a record with us. So I guess they did a 2 month, maybe 3 months with us. Kentucky Headhunter's grandson plays drums. You know who I'm talking about? No.
Something
Is it
Smoke.
Buckstone Cherry?
No.
John Fred Young.
Yeah, Fred Young. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's his band?
John Blackstone Cherry. It's
Yeah.
Fred.
Blackstone Cherry, that's it. Yeah,
Blackstone Cherry,
Blackstone
yeah.
Cherry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, what a monster drummer, man. He's good.
He's a really good drummer.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah, he's burning some calories when he's playing for sure. He's good.
Yeah,
You know,
he's
it's funny, old man Fred is still good too.
Oh, I bet he is. Yeah, he always played sonar too.
Yep.
Always played sonar.
Yeah.
Coonskin hat.
Yeah.
Fred Young.
Yeah, he knew my dad pretty good. Yeah,
He has
those
really
are.
fast feet.
He does, man. He's good. And again, he played them son. Them sonars are always been expensive. They always sound great.
Yeah, they're still out touring too. Those guys are out still playing.
wow,
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah.
all the time. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I only know the one song. I ain't gonna lie. Bottle of fries.
Dumas Walker.
Dumas
Yeah,
Walker.
Dumas Walker.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's good
That's the
though.
song.
And that's a shuffle beat. Those things are hard. That's the
Yeah.
only one of the beats that intimidates me. Like the real twist. Have you ever heard anybody really play it like the really way you're supposed to, all the way through? Man, I'm telling you what. That's, you know what I mean. That's,
Oh yeah, and the interesting thing is if you don't watch him play that song, you don't know how to really play it. They played at a party I played at one time. The three of them showed up at this party, and he played,
Tear
and I
your
stood
arm
on the
up.
side of the stage and watched him play that song, and it's not like what you think.
It's just that
Those
shuffle.
Texas guys, man, they do a different sort of shuffle, man. And he plays a weird thing on. He plays the bass drum, da-doon, da-doon, da-doon through the whole song. It's
Yeah, it's
wild.
not. It's not.
not a straight- it's not a straight- yeah. No.
It's do.
It's crazy.
It's so it really to play it proper. I've not heard any. And you know, I was watching him live, and as he's gotten older, I seen him fall back into the. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
the
yeah.
cheating way of
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
it,
yeah.
which I would gladly use every time because it'll burn your arm up, even if you're practiced up. I mean,
Yeah.
but he does all those beats like that. I remember Modern Drummer that he had one of the hardest. Like they had like the hardest, fill
Yeah.
time of the year or whatever, and had a thing, and his was like the hardest in tush because it, and he, to me he just looks so cool doing it because he don't even make a face and it's not sweating, and but he just holds that pocket just so true. I mean, he just locks in on that
Yeah,
pocket.
he
That's
does,
the
man.
thing.
He
yeah.
does. So you did how many tantric records did you do when you did the tantric thing?
So we did two, and then Todd and I wrote a third one. Again, mismanagement and things like that, brought us to people had to go in separate ways. So me and Todd took a summer and wrote the third album, and it was coming up for release, and then they just had to let us go. It was weird. It was kind of the time that the internet was going odd. So anyways, Madonna flew in from England, and we didn't have a record label anymore. And so the third album didn't get released. It was mixed and all that stuff. Hugo sang on it. The ones that, Todd and I were pretty selective on this one since Jesse wasn't in it. At that time, we all wasn't, Hugo and us as a group wasn't getting along together as much. So Todd did a lot of the singing on the record, and we really, really liked it, Todd ended up doing it, and he's doing some now. Him and I's got a project out, which I wish he would have just went into it earlier, him being the lead guy. I mean, he's just got a great voice,
Yeah, he does. He's got a great voice.
Really is. But, it's kind of like, so does Lane Staley, or Jerry Cantrell with Lane Staley, but that uniqueness, just being a great, perfect singer sometimes just, you got to have that little extra whiskey thing in there or something, you know what I mean, that just makes it stand out. But Todd's got a beautiful voice. He sings perfectly. I mean, but
so now,
that would be three of the
three
tantric,
records, three tantric records.
Three tantric records.
And you toured on the first two,
Mm-hmm.
and all over the place.
All over everywhere.
Yeah.
With everybody, all the friends, everybody that's out right now.
And did you play some shows with Aerosmith?
Oh yes, we did. Yeah, that was back in the days of the new stuff. So yeah, that it got pretty out of control for a while. Some of the times I didn't even know who we was around, and they would just be like some of the, just huge players. Just being young and not knowing. But yeah, we had an awesome time with that. I mean, that was the shortest run of our career, but probably the most fruitful as far as being new to everything, going to different countries and playing. But even in Tantric up in 2006, I believe it was. Oh, sorry, 2006, we did the USO and played with Drowning Pool. And that was interesting because I used their drummers to save money, which I wish I'll never do again. I used their drummer's kit, but my dad always said, man, if you use somebody's kit, just change the stool, throw your snare in there, throw your cymbals on there, don't change nothing, and try to burn their ass. And that's what I did every night. And I tried to burn his ass. And you know what? And it's weird when you get on a different kit. I was like, man, his plays better than mine. And it's in a different. Have you ever done that? It's just like it makes you think about, man, I ought to change this, man. I think it's better. And I did. I would just change the snare out, but he was a really nice guy, for real. And put my cymbals on, and my stool, of course. And then they just throw his stool on, actually the whole stand for my snare, and they just put his, I could have, he told me to do whatever, but I know it makes everybody mad. You don't want to go back. You'll tear a knuckle right off after you go back and readjust, or your tech does, that, no matter if you got a cage or whatever, I've never had them be perfect the same. every night. I wish it could go down that way. It'd be nice. But I'm sure Max can sell me something that'll keep it that way.
Yeah, sure, sure.
You know?
I'll get you after the thing.
I have been looking at those the Gibraltar, like the almost invisible racks. You know what I'm talking about with the round.
Yeah.
The round over the.
Yeah.
You can almost make it floating. You know that tree kit. I guess it one NAM 10 or 15 years ago. I was using that. That's a pretty cool little system.
It is. Yeah, it is really cool.
You use
So-
the tree kit?
No, I wish I could. No, that thing was awesome. Yeah, the one that was at NAM. Yeah, that thing's badass. I think they had. What did they have on it? Mapex or something sitting on it back then at the time.
I think so.
But the rack was awesome. The kit was good. I left my water way up there. The kit was good. Can I grab that? I'm gonna grab. It's yeah. And I like those drums. The Mapex stuff.
Yeah, they're nice.
They are. Thank you.
Yeah.
But they're very nice.
And so now you've got to play. You built a little room at home.
Mm-hmm.
You got your kit all set up and mic'd up, and that you doing
Nowadays,
Yeah.
yeah. So now we're using technology. Of course, Todd's in Florida, so Todd will get we'll discuss a solid track on Marco Polo between the three of us as we get to it. So this will be over several days, and then Todd will, because he'll send a voice clip of a riff, and then we'll listen to it. Hey, I hear this, I hear this, I hear a standard beat, I hear this beat or whatever. Can you go here? Can you go there? And we just kind of produce what's going on. Then Todd sends a solid, scratch guitar take to us with a click, and I pull it up on the DAW, with that. I'm not using Elise's. Maybe I can't remember what my system is now. It's been so long since I bought it, but we pull it up, and I'll just run tracks on it until same way. We get the drums first, to the scratch scratch tracks, and then I can get home from work or whatever, and until I get it. I don't punch anything in. I've never learned how to do it, so I play them from beginning to end. There's just different energies, man, and I don't care who. Max can tune them almost when they break. I know you did for one punch in the album. I broke a snare drum, and he tuned one up because I guess the beginning of it was such a good. They wanted to keep it. I wanted to go. Me, I'd play for another month. I'm like, probably taking a lot of money up, but yeah. Yeah, so I've got a little room. I probably have $3,000 in the whole thing. It's like a closet. It's a small bedroom, vaulted ceiling. So then I built a room inside that room. On three walls, it's about an inch off of the wall, and I just framed it, and then drywall on the outside, drywall on the inside. It started getting expensive. The wife's like, "Why are you bringing all this plywood and stuff in?" I'm like, "Man, well, because we did the Blitzkrieg thing, and we did live cymbals on a electric kit, which electric kit for me, it has its places and I love them, but it just don't. Man, I want my drums. Sometimes I can close my eyes and get lost in an electric kit and feel like I'm playing a real one, but the technique is just different. You know what I mean? For me, anyway. So I just had to have them drums, and I just knew that it was possible to work that way. So then when I get a keeper, I could send it to him in like a MP3, and he can listen, because I don't want to send the major file yet, and if it's not a keeper, because we've recorded so many records together, we just produce it ourselves, and I'm like, when him and I are both feeling it, which is usually instantaneous, then he'll I'll send him the real deal. He's like, don't erase it, because I have erased some great stuff, but and send it to him. Then he has that track, and then he builds from there. With the Blitzkrieg stuff, we all went and got in the same room together. We all went down, and we did it in 2 separate times. But we always try to get healthy. We hang out. You got to know one another. I think when you're playing a record together, it comes through in the playing. Jesse and I, we like to be together recording. If I had my way, I'd have him there. He's like if I get out there lost somewhere, he's that beacon. Look at him, he'll bring you back in. So yeah, I like it. It just gives a little more, I don't know, energy, I guess, if you will. Him and I just worked together for so long. So on the Blitzkrieg stuff, we've done that. We're talking about doing another Blitzkrieg release. I have a few different bands. So I have Moonshine Zombies.
Yeah.
Which is it's interesting. It's a cool thing. It's like an '80s deal, type Glenn Danzig type '80s thing. I don't know. It's pretty wild. The guy's a shredder. The guitar player. He's a monster. he's a shredder. But and then Todd and I have Honey Child Hippie, which we just released. I don't know. I'd hate to say it 6 months ago. It might have been a year ago, but by now. But Honey Child Hippie stuff, and both of our bands, it gets close to other names, I guess, because they've all been taken. So you got to be careful. But it's just Todd and I. Jesse, these guys had Jesse too busy, so he couldn't. And Todd had some time off, so we released the Honey Child Hippie EP, which is 5 or 6 songs that we're super proud of, and all those have been recorded. The drums is at my house, and then of course he did bass himself down at his house. I think he's using a Spectre as well, like
Jesse.
Same as Jesse. I mean, we obviously wanted Jesse there. He was just so busy. It was just he just couldn't do it, and Todd had these sitting on the shelf that he wanted to get done. So. Well, actually, we kind of produced them together. Like I said, it's a discussion. Todd's doing the masterminding of the songs, but he's really gentlemanly or what am I trying to say? Nice about getting your input and letting you write your part of the song. For the lack of not being in the same room. So we've learned how to work in many different environments, and that's the cool one, so the technology. And so we come out with, Todd masters and mixes and everything. So, just our, Dropbox accounts and then the equipment we have now. Todd, he'll mix it for about a year, maybe, if you let him, maybe 2. He's like, this is great. It's the final one. It'll be an hour later. Guys, I just read about this new piece of gear. Hold on. This is the final mix. No, I'm not. Hold on, we're going to re-release it later. This is the final mix. So we'll go through that for 6 or 8 times before it comes out. But man, he's awesome at it. He's getting so good at it. And
as a producer, he's really good. He's a good
he really
person to
is.
watch work. He knows what he wants, but he gives you all this rope. He just lets you do your thing. He's really a good producer, man. Really good producer.
Really is. Makes you really comfortable, fun to write with, and we just know how to go right into it. As soon as we sit down, it's just, we don't even have. There's no getting to know each other part out. He's got to work and I got to work. So it ain't like the old days. We ain't gonna do this all day long. So it keeps me on my toes. I know when he's sending riffs in, I better start playing because what I write in my head, sometimes my body don't want to do, but, and I don't like to compromise, I don't want to compromise what I've written, because in your head you can play the best drums in the, I can do everything I've ever wanted to do. I'm Dave Weckl in my head. So, but sometimes I write myself into a whoa, and you got to kind of compromise in the middle there, or at least let the music breathe, because it would all sound like a drum solo if you had up to me.
Did you say write myself into a whoa?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. So I asked Matt. I said, give me a couple songs that you think are your playing. You know what I mean? What would identify you as some pieces?
It's a hard one.
And no, it's funny because I asked Jesse the same thing. Tell me a couple songs you think that
epitomize. Obviously there was touch, feel, and stand and all that stuff. But if I was a drummer, I would have been listening to some of the B-side stuff. I kind of figured somebody else. It just depends. If it's a drummer asking the question or somebody that just heard the radio hits or stuff like that. I mean, Freak is pretty interesting. I think for the early stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of B-side stuff. That How Do You Know You's a really interesting, hard, turnaround beat that, technically I don't know what to call it, but it's a hard one.
Yeah, when I talked to him a couple months ago about doing this, I took a deep dive into and listened to that first record, because I hadn't listened to it since it came out. And there's a lot of really cool things on there.
There is.
I also know that when you do that record, no matter what, it's your first record, they probably made you play a bit simpler than you originally had the parts.
They clipped me and it threw me for a loop at first, because I play busy. I guess I play busier than I think I do, but I'm a huge, jazz fan because it just intimidates the shit out of me. I grew up playing all the rock songs and stuff, so when they're writing the songs, I try, not really try, but I try not to have to go in there with that traditional rock beat. You know, I want to make it interesting. I want it to be part musical and part of the song and part of the changes. You know, and then I realize as we write more and more that it's just all these melodies floating around, and almost each member is almost fighting to see which one gets the melody first.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah.
that fits in within that, you know, that thing that I'm learning now. But I like to play busy. I like to be on top of it. I bet you my playing, if I've recorded it, you know, in a different manner, I'd realize that I'm 50 and want to be busy. So it's probably two different things than back then being busy. But yeah, I'm learning to lay off of them, you know, save my muscles and my heads and my cymbals and let them breathe a little bit, and save my tuning and stuff, and then but still deliver power. You know, I still, no matter what, I hit too hard to have real expensive cymbals. I mean, today before I came in, I was like, well, I'm going to brush up for a minute, sit down for about 30 minutes or so. But I have those. They're Sabian. I can't remember. I looked at them too before.
HHX or
There's the very very high end. There's like the next
Artisan.
Yeah,
Artisans.
yeah, and you just can't. I'm like, whoa, you know, I'm just practicing. I better, whoa, man, like, because you can go through them, you know, with those Paiste signatures.
Yeah,
I
same
love
thing.
those, but man, you can
you just blow through
pink them
and-
off there if you're. I'm just a heavy hitter, but you know, and I think I've seen maybe Kenny Arnoff at the Louisville store or something when he was talking about his hands hurting and things like that. And you know, I kind of paid attention back then. I wish I would a little more because you know, I realized if you're dehydrated or out of air when you're playing rock anyways, and you're under them lights and you're gunning, you know, like, you know, techniques out the window. When you do that, man, you know, when I do that, or what I've noticed people do, you grip on there tight, you know, real tight, and that's going to tear you up. So I've been seeing videos of myself recently, and it looks like I've got my hands relaxed, you know, it kind of, you know, looks like I'm open because, you know, when you let off your hands, you get older, it'll kind of just form to a drumstick and just get stiff. I think that's a big thing. You know, I should more probably just have a pad around just to because like I said, if you just haven't done it for, I mean, if you ain't played in a couple of weeks, it goes away quick, just like lifting weights. You know, when you're on a regimen and you know, the knowledge don't go away, but the feel of the drum does, you know, and it makes you sloppy for a second, you know. I was able to pull it back in, you know, within a couple, you know, 20 minutes of playing, you know, not like pull it back in to go do a record, but you know, after not playing for, you know, 6 or 8 months since I did the last record with Todd, you know, after, you know, we wrote that and then got it released, you know, you kind of just shut the door back there for a while and forget about it, you know, pay attention to the wife and everything like I should, and do all those things until the next one comes, and then I'm gonna be back here in that room playing drums. But yeah, so yeah, you know, I should have listened to that stuff growing up, and then in particular, I seen Clutch. I love Clutch. And they had a really good young band opening up for them, and they were just killing it. I mean, just destroying the instruments, and it was good. All the crowd was about my age, so nobody's really standing up, and it was really good. But then Clutch came out, man, and he did that Frank Beard thing. He just sat down with class and just, you know, he wasn't sweating or doing nothing. He just tore them drums up, and he just looked so cool doing it. So my theories kind of changed a little bit. The playing's, you know, about the same, but you know, as far as bashing them like I used to, because I used to hit
the
pretty
older
hard.
you get, the more, the older you get, the less you
no longer
hammer away.
three racks, you know, 2 floors, 2 snares. You know, it's like I don't have drum techs anymore. It's like kick, snare, hat, taking a ride. It's pretty big. It's kind of heavy. I don't know. It's like I don't know. Well, it's a heavy metal band. You know, it's like, well, I can do it all on the snare, I think. You know, if you're carrying it, but you know, and some absence I think was good for me too. I'd quit playing for a little while in between the Tantric and the several projects I got going now, and I think I kind of needed it, you know, because when you get so much emotion and drama and money and everything mixed in, and mistakes and good moves and bad moves, all that mixed in, it kind of made it weird for me, you know, almost like a job or something. So I think the break, I learned one thing from it. I have to play drums or I go nuts. So I didn't know what was missing and what was wrong with me, but I needed to play drums. I guess you get it all out. I get it all out when I'm playing them. So yeah, it is. It really is. So I like being involved in it. But
All right, so Matt told me touch, peel, and stand, which I think everybody's probably heard that one.
mm-hmm.
So we're gonna play that so you hear it and understand it, and then Matt can kind of explain how you put that together, because it's an interesting drum part, and yeah, this is
It is. It's that that dreaded 3 kick drum thing. It's if you think about it, you can get caught up in it and it gets hard. Sometimes for a while there, I had a brain fart to where I couldn't get that first one off, or the third one or something, man. And every time I get to it, I'd get scared in front of everybody. You know, it's like I wrote it and it was so easy. And if I would just, sometimes I don't know, I can't explain it, but yeah. So that I see a lot of people and they have a lot of people have a hard time with it, and it's that.
Yeah.
So I get it why anybody would have a hard
So
time.
let's listen to it real quick and
Yeah.
just have it on.
That was that old Ludwig concert tom kit.
Yeah.
Something I let go, I won't let it show. Don't you touch me, I won't let it go. Now I stand and I feel for more. Won't you touch me, I won't let it go. Yes, I found the reason now I need an excuse. I've got the sound on my head. All the ones who want to lose. Yes, I found the
That's hard though. That thing sounds good.
Yeah, it's a nice little snare
That
drum.
one's hard for me to listen to. I played it so many.
So many
Play
times.
it there, touch, peel, and stand, man. No. But I had a brain fart on it for a long time. It was hard to get into the do-do-do-ba-ba-ba for some reason. It's kind of jazzy, really.
Yeah, it is. It's very syncopated.
Is it a repeatable pattern?
Yes, it is. Most of them are, yeah. I try to do that, and honestly, I try to do that just for, just keeps the song, easier for the listener, and everybody in the band's so musical. If I chop it up too much, it just kind of shits on the, excuse my French, but kind of takes down on the melody and the beauty of the song. So, but I love to overplay, and I love overplayers. So, after a lot of discussion and things like that, I get calmed down enough to do it because I definitely want drums to be a big part of it, and I want them to be busy. I like busy drums. I like the drummer that's working. But when I record and I lay all the way back to where I think I didn't do enough, I always love those recordings because it breathes so much and stuff. So that, there's two different things there. But Yeah, it's definitely repeating patterns. I try to do that though to produce myself because, you know, I learned young on that that's what a producer's going to do. Is first thing he's going to do is go, hold on, come here, calm down. Let's, you know, take this many kick drums out and then do that. So yeah, we do that. And then I try to have some interesting feels. You know, I try to write them like you would a big guitar part or anything. It helps sometimes if Todd's got an idea of the solo, if I can listen to that. You know, like when I'm doing fills too. Sometimes I'll build on that, and then sometimes I like to play hype guy with the cymbals, you know, like hype the singer, you know, after he says something, you know, good, and you know, so you kind of, you know, hype him with it is my approach. Sometimes I follow the guitar, sometimes I hype the vocals, but yeah. So a long way around to your question. Yeah, I try to keep repeating patterns. Yes.
I
Yeah.
also noticed,
Go
I
ahead.
also noticed, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of what you were doing was you weren't playing the kick and the snare at the same time. They were
Chop back and
working
forth. Mm-hmm.
working in tandem and not.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then sometimes there's that Tommy Lee 2/4, you know, kick snare smash. You know that sometimes this songs, you know, when they come, you just gotta smash with them. You know, the kick and the snare together. That's definitely a thing. You know, a thing, a habit that I stopped doing, and I wish I wouldn't have, that I did a lot back then, that I noticed was about every time I hit the snare, I did like a Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Grab the
Alex,
hi-hat.
yeah, like Alex Van Halen.
I stopped doing that because I thought it was a bad habit I had, but now I listen back to it and I'm like, I wish I could come back into that habit. So I would just basically be the reverb with the hat
Yeah.
on my almost every downbeat in the beginning days I listened to it, and I fell away from it, you know. But I like that, you know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It kind of fills that downbeat, you know.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to play too. If you don't know that Alex Van Halen thing, he did it in all those first records. Yeah.
Every snare hit was he was
Every one the hi-hat went up and every
yeah,
time.
on the snares, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I like that.
I do too. I think
He's
it's
a
a cool
good
thing.
player, man. He's a great player.
Yeah.
As I got older, I didn't listen to him as much. You know, I got more into Danny and stuff like that. And then, of course, you watch Dave Weckl, and then you just I don't even know that life is real. And after you watch him, it's just like he's something else. That one steroids. I don't even. I'm just like, I get the wife. I'm like, look at this. She's just like, honey, I don't. It's so awesome. You know, I want to take his school and stuff, and I'm like, man, that'd just be embarrassing to be my age and have to call him and say, like, dude, I've been playing since I was 7, but I still need your help. You know, he's got some great stuff. I watch his stuff online, and he's just a great teacher.
Yeah,
Great,
yeah.
you know, he uses basically the same philosophy Max does. Man, you got to let them drums breathe. It might be a little louder to people, but you can't choke them drums off. That's the whole point of buying those shells. You know, in the 80s, everybody did a bad habit of, everybody did, you know, and then even the beginning of the day stuff, and people were scared to let that snare ring like that, you know, and Tool did it, and I love it. Sometimes he'll turn the snares off, and I love that even better, because you can really hear, especially when you're practicing, you turn them snares off, you can hear your actual hits. It ain't like that the snares get you away with bad hits or something, but it just muffles it up a little bit. You can't exactly hear your taps. You drop them snares off of there, and it's a unique sound, if you ask me, kind of a world, you know, sound. And
Yeah. So on that record, he used an old Ludwig drum set. There was a concert tom set
concert toms,
on that record.
two racks, no bottom heads, and then the one floor didn't have a bottom head, and then I guess my dad added legs to it, and then the 18 did have a bottom head. So
Yeah.
the 18 and the kick drum had both front and back, but you know, and I started reading recently that Phil Collins liked the open concert
Oh,
toms
yeah,
too.
yeah,
When he
yeah.
had two drummers on stage, that he on his kit, when he got it and played with him, his had open toms and the other guys didn't. Man, they tune really quick. It gives it a earthy, you know. I think it was perfect for the acoustic guitar thing, though. They just kind of felt, they were so old, man. But dude, you know, that you couldn't set them up any other way. The stands and everything was broke into the only way that they set. You know what I mean? So, you good luck if you wanted to change it around. But then the thing got thrown into so many different seats and stuff, and that's just the way it goes, right? There's never no way to transport it
Yeah.
perfectly, but
Yeah. And the other thing that's interesting about Matt's playing is if you listen to now you start to listen into the Tantric records particularly, or even that I don't even know what songs. The second days of the new record, Travis had all of us playing on the same song.
Yeah, so we don't know which ones. I think on the record.
Travis would play on it. I would play on it.
So I think I did. I think what came out that I'm on. I think the
Yeah, because I tried to cut that one, I couldn't do it. I did it, but I wasn't any good at it. It was terrible.
It was a heavy metal take on. He had crazy demands, and the thing was is I think we nailed it on the first take, and then we went through 2 cases of drumsticks and bleeding, and I don't know how many days later, and he's like, "Okay, we'll keep the first take." It was fun, but. He always really, really cared about the final product, though, and you can't blame a man for that. I was missing little stuff that he was asking for, and he wrote the song, he was asking for it, so I should be able to hit it. So, we stayed until we did. So, but he had me doing some crazy stuff, doing cymbal grabs over 20 different. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, I remember it. I was standing there like, what is going on? And
Yeah,
all right, you go over and try it. I'm like, well, I can't do that.
He said,
I need another couple
You should have let
arms.
him hit him and you choked
Yeah,
him.
that's what it should, man.
we had charts out and everything else, and I don't read music, and I can a little bit, but nothing. So there was like 15 stands, so there was arms off of arms and booms and all these things for these different splashes, and he's like, so that whole bar hit each one of these different ones in between. It was fun. It was fun though. But I don't know, just to be just inspired or whatever, but we did it. We hit every one of them. It took a while, but we got it.
To me, that second record into when he started doing the Tantric records is when Matt started refining his hi-hat work. And the hi-hat stuff that he did, which was very intricate. A lot of it was very intricate. A lot of two-hand stuff that you did on the hi-hats, as I remember, and that was unique in his playing. But I think you kind of got that from some Danny Carey stuff. You got to pull from
sure.
4 or 5 different people and made your own thing out of it, which was very cool.
And that's one thing I'll never deny. So back when I grew up, you had to listen to a tape so many times and hit rewind that you wore a tape out. You got to get your pencil out, rewind that thing back again and listen, because we didn't have videos of somebody going, this is how you do this. So I wore that stuff out. So most of everything I do is my attempt at what I'd heard or seen somewhere else. All these greats. So a lot of that, not necessarily trying to steal it or anything like that. It's just when I wrote a song, their influences was heavy on me. Danny was one of those, because he's just one of those super busy guys, but he can also lay back and just stay in the pocket without jumping the gun forever, and then just do something just so insane, and nobody's looking at him going, man, that's too much. So I loved him, and then Carter Beauford too, from Dave Matthews Band. I love that guy. I mean, he's just something else. I love watching him live. I'd go see him live. I'd sat behind his kit before. He's just something else. He's purely ambidextrous. When he plays from left-handed to right-handed, the arms change jobs. He don't start playing, you know what I mean? He don't generically play left-handed. Like, this actually turns to the hi-hat hand, and this is actually the snare hand now. And then over here, this is that. So he's full. That alone is just, the thought of that is really, and I try to do things to get my left hand worth a darn, It's like, brush your teeth with your left hand. I have a black eye and everything else. Yeah, ain't no way. But yeah, I try to do stuff and be more conscious of it. And I know that's the first thing to go to when I sit down, and I try to get them ghost notes right off the bat when I haven't played in a while too. But yeah, he just, he's chewing gum and he's smiling, and he's just one of those guys. And I don't know who it is, but on not The Voice, but Kelly Clarkson's a referee on it or whatever. Well,
is it the voice or is it?
I don't know if the drummer
Some-
that's on
yeah,
her show is
yeah.
the same guy or not.
It's not.
But
Yeah,
whoever
guys
does,
very very similar.
both of them are really good. But I'm talking, they go out on a limb, and you think there's no, and nobody turns and says that's too much because he just pulls it all. Just the amazing. He's not off time. No, it's like nothing ever happened. And so there's some. I wish I knew the names of these guys, but that one on The Voice is like.
Yeah.
Live on TV,
He's
you're like,
really
no,
great
he's not
player.
going to do it. And
Nate Morse,
man, I've jumped up in the air and did a
Nate Morse, yeah, and
pirouette
play- and he-
sometimes on that guy.
He's amazing, and he plays all different styles. That's what's really weird. He played jazz stuff or funk,
not even human,
rock,
man.
everything, man.
Yeah, and you know, the guy with the mustache, I can't remember his name. He's a huge artist. He does the backflip standing there on the like Benson Boone, like on that live Grammy show. He did that first back, you know, that ripped his clothes off, whatever. To me, it was one of the best live performances, you know, and I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, I've never seen him before. Jesse's like, if you want to see the best performance ever, watch this guy. Well, when he did with the cord in his hand, did the sideways backflip, and then, but anyways, if you watch the performance, and to me, it's the best one ever on the Grammys. That drummer does the craziest feel I've ever seen, you know, because they're charged, like the whole band, they're up there getting it, you know. Their chance, and that he does the craziest thing. I'm like, oh my gosh! And the singer got so wound up, he looked at him, did another standing backflip, you know, as the answer to the energy that was going on. I never caught that guy's name, but that drummer is.
Yeah, he's a good
he
player,
did something, you know, out of control. You know, to put it in context, to sit and play it and practice it all day long is one thing, but to, you know, pull off one of your, you know, like one of my 3 fancy words I know, to be able to pull it off, you know, in a conversation while you're doing something is different, you know what I mean, than doing it, you know.
So I got a question for you. So
Mm-hmm.
you played on you were on the Letterman show.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
were on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
Yeah, we was like regulars on that
Yeah.
stuff. We knew the people there, but yeah.
How so? What was that experience like? How stressed out were you when you were on? You knew you were going
You
to.
seen I ain't got no hair no more. So it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. It's 55 degrees in there or something like that. The crowd's about like you guys, and then everybody there's professional, and they're all in a hurry, and they're all mean. And you're just like, oh no. And you don't even know where the control booth is or the sound guy is, you know. And it's rush, 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 and you're just scared to death, you know. For me, I was scared to death, you know. Just to death. You just got to go out there and do it, you know. I can't explain it. And sometimes, you know, it kicks right in. As soon as you sit down, it zaps out, and then sometimes it don't, you know. We made it through, but yeah, we was all scared to death. Later on, as we got with Tantric, we started playing well, but, you know, better. Well, I'm not going to say better, but less stressed. That's just one of them things, you know, everybody, you want your drums to be better. It's a throw and go. You know, it's like the most important shows in the world that you ever have to play is a throw and go, and they'll give you some rental that's like, you know, that's the worst that, you know, and it's a throw and go, but, you know, it just still shines through. I think our playing, you know, as drummers, it still shines through. It just, you know, it might break and do all these things. I remember one night that Sonar, they would allow me to use different snare drum companies as I was endorsed with them and advertise for them, and if the rental places didn't have something adequate in Sonar stuff, I could get the equivalent in a different brand. So it allowed me, you know, a lot of these upper scale places, if they didn't have a Sonar kit in, to play all this other stuff. But man, they had a Sonar kit, and this thing was old, like, you know, Buddy Rich, when he first started playing, like, you know, we're doing a rock show, and then they were all tuned to like as tight as you could get the heads, like almost going to break the drum. And it was just so bad. And we're going to be live on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So somehow we get that good idea that I was like, so don't rubbing alcohol burn, cool. We're going to be on TV though, and at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And they're like, what you got cooking up? I was like, I'm tired of them sending me junk, man. I'm going live on TV. So Bakken at the end of the song, douse the whole kit with that rubbing alcohol until the words go up, and then light them things on fire, and then I'll throw them off of the stage, and then y'all can, when we get off of the TV screen, y'all can put them out. Well, as I'm saying that, the fire marshals are coming through, and they hear it. So yeah, but yeah, I did throw them over, and it kind of knocked Hugo down to the ground, which score. But Well, he was he was picking at me all day, making me mad. But he was spinning around with that microphone stand. You know the ones with the 19,000-pound iron screw on bottom. And as he's spinning around doing his thing, and the big ending, that it's coming unscrewed. And so on his final swing, it launches. You know, just takes my knee all the way out. You know, just comes through the hi-hat stand. You know, and it's the words go. I get so mad, I jump down behind the kit and take the whole drum riser and everything, because I want to destroy his drums anyways. They sounded so bad, and you couldn't do nothing for them. And threw the drums over to be cool, you know. And then, but Hugh goes over, he gets crushed by 'em. So you see, the performance is going great though. Needless to say, they sounded good up front. So I was kind of tripping over nothing, but it just happens to me every time I'm doing something important. It's just a crappy kit. And mine can't get there for some reason. But yeah, so you see the words going up and see him get demolished and my knee taken out. But yeah, life is
awesome.
rock and roll guy, huh?
All right, so the second song that Matt sent me, and funny, Jesse sent me the same song, which is quite interesting, is Breakdown, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Off the first Tantric record.
Mm-hmm.
And this shows some of Matt's hi-hat, some of the hi-hat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it's the single hand hi-hat stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Still, it's that at bottom, you know, jazzy. I wish I could do it like the ZZ Top guy. You know, when I wrote it, I was thinking something like that, but he's a rock. That guy's so hard. That beat is so intimidating.
So have you heard of this song, Tantric's Breakdown? You heard of that song? Yeah. So that's what this is.
In your life, you seem to have it all. You seem to have control, but deep within your soul, you're losing it. You never took the time, assume that you're to blame. You think that you're insane, won't just wear me. I know the breakdown, everything is gonna shake now someday. I know the breakdown. Tell me again, am I awake now, baby? You can find the reason that no one else is living this way. Yeah, living this way. Yeah.
Man, they were awesome hats.
I think that
I
they
grabbed
sound
into
good,
those and I was
yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah, they sound good.
They do sound good.
So I remember on this, yeah.
Badass, man.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I just figured I would show you, because I would never know how to describe it to you in proper music talk or theory, but I could show you, you know. It's my weakest point, but I use a lot of those ghost notes. I like the way Max uses them. I wish mine was that smooth. Oh yeah,
Yeah, right hand stuff is
The
cool.
combination, that's
And a lot of that was being lacking on my ghost note in here, so I'd always fill it in with my hi-hat. Well, that, and I loved the first Pearl Jam guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He was crazy on his cymbals. He just spoke with those cymbals and was really loud on them. And I just I liked it, you know, that energy back then. And I still do, you know, he was different on the brass, you know. That's a huge, important part of the playing, you know. The 2 and 4 is I mean, all of it's really important, but I like a lot of the flashy cymbal work, you know. Especially when you're playing rock and stuff, it seems like after you get through your wheelhouse of your, you know, however many fills and stuff, you know, and you've did a few, your fourth or fifth record and stuff. So I like to find different drums or different brass, different cymbals and things to use to supplement fills or things. And I like writing. I try to write like a drum hook too. You know how you have the vocal hook that repeats all the time, like you were saying earlier. I may not do it in the main beat, but Downtown, I believe it's called the Downtown. The dun 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 dun. You know, just to chop up the fills, you know. And then, so when I'm practicing, you can just kind of do the same fill on everything, but instead of, you know, right to left, just left to right, or jump from this one to that one, this one to that one, you know.
Yeah, on that first record, there was a lot of ride cymbal stuff. Really cool ride cymbal right hand stuff, like he was doing on it.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff on the first record was that right
Iron
hand.
Maiden right
really,
there, man.
Yeah,
That was
Iron
that
Maiden
Iron
ride
Maiden stuff.
cymbal went
Yeah.
really fast thing on there.
I just love that style of bass playing too. You know, you know, when the guys using fingers and, you know, there's just a certain place that when they put the bass on, you know they mean business. You're like, oh, okay.
I think that the snare drum we used on that song was a 13-inch snare drum.
Yeah, you were there for that
It
whole
was a
thing.
by 13 by 6 drum that I still have at the house. It's sitting.
And again, you know, it was almost like the same. You know, still young enough to still intimidating. You know, doing that song in the rooms. I think I had better moments with that song, that I played it better than I did on the record. But the record still catches the main. You know, it's just being picky stuff, and I think I do that with a lot of my work. You know, just after you hear it a bunch of times, you can think of 1,000 different ways that you could have done it. But
yeah, I can tell you, man, when I went down to do that record with him, like standing in that control room, like listening to that song back while I listened to it the other day, and then remember standing in that control room with his giant speakers in there. It was massive. We blew them
killed
up.
it on the mix.
Yeah, the first day we got in there, we blew the whole main speakers out because it was so loud. Huh? No. This was down in Nashville. We cut that one in Nashville. But when they blew the speakers up the first day, they had to come back in and put new speakers in, amps and everything.
You know the drums that went to tape is golden. You know the final mix that came out on them was different. You know, but you know, remember when we do the playback and I would open them room mics because he never did. They were afraid of the room mic for some reason. You know, I love the close mic, but man, every time I listened for my playbacks, I'd bring those room mics
room mics
up.
were killer, yeah.
You know, that's the whole point of it. I thought that we were paying for a nice studio in a big room like that was for the drums.
Yeah,
you know,
and we cut that to tape, so it went to 24-track tape.
Oh yeah, every time you
And
messed up, it was
then
like.
they threw it to Pro Tools to be able to do all the other stuff on it, but the drums were cut to tape. Every time we
Everything
cut it.
until the last Tantric record was all cut to tape.
It was all cut to tape, and I'm telling you, man, to hear that, like, for one thing, I was really proud, like listening to Matt play. You know what I mean? Like, it made me very proud that he was at that level, and that he sounded that way. You know what I mean? And I was very proud of him because
I was happy to have you down there. You know, there's a lot of stuff. You know, when you're young like that and you're going to the studio, you're like, do I have the right heads? Do I have the right, you know, everything, you know, just like going to a new job or anything. Where am I going to put my hands? Or how do I sit there and do this? You know, is the producer going to, you know, and Max always made that real easy for me and always said the drum's perfect, you know. He'd ask me, well, how do you like them tuned? Just the way the drum's supposed to be tuned, you know. A good sounding drum kit, I mean, pretty much you tune it, and that's the way it sounds when you tune a kit up, you know. You can have your preference on, you know, a higher or low end tuning, you know, as far as like Dave Weckl for a different band, he might have a higher or lower. I mean, there's a difference, but it's kind of subtle, you know. Just tune the thing up, you know. And Max, I can do that right on. And every time you just lay in there and it feels good. I still struggle with tuning today. I think every time right before it breaks is when the snare drum always sounds the best. I mean, it's getting ready to break when it sounds great when you finally get it right. But yeah, so
All right, so there's two questions I'm gonna ask you here at the end of this thing. One of them is if you could spend time with one drummer, right? You have a lesson or go to a clinic with one drummer, alive or dead. Who would that be?
I'm just gonna have to keep it real with Danny Carey.
Yep.
Because his attitude and everything, he's a sober guy, so that'd be really good for me. And he's a hard hitter, that'd be good. I just like, he goes out there on a limb, man, and he makes it all fit so comfortably. He's got a little bit of aggression, but like he's about everything I'd see in a drummer that I like. You know, he's got the jazz background, so you know he's doing everything proper, technique proper, using all those different instruments. I'm gonna say I'd have to cut it up with Danny Carey probably,
All right.
honestly. But that could change. You know, it's hard to say, man, because you know, of course Bonham and all that stuff. But I mean, I love so many different drummers at different points that I still love. You know, Carter is a beast too. Dave Weckl, I mean, come on. I mean, Buddy Rich, I mean, he could play every part of the kit, the bottom of the stand, the side of it. I don't think he ever practiced. He didn't even own a kit in his house. He said practicing was just, you know, he'd written, I'd seen, just to talk about him for a second, I'd seen that he had written before going out, because he was always on Johnny Carson. They were friends, you know. I guess Johnny Carson used to play drums a little bit. He'd come out about once a year, but he had written a score that was just insane. For one, him writing a score, there's no way I could do, you know. So he wrote it the night before, and that band came out and did that live on that show. And it had so many stops and turns. And it was, you know, it was just impossible. I mean, and he's like, I just want to thank my band. And it's like, how did they just tore it up? And he just wrote it that night before. But anyhow.
Yeah, I got a
Yeah.
Buddy Rich story because Rick Magnoli told me a Buddy Rich story. He told me that he went to do an interview with Buddy, and Buddy went in for to play with like the Philharmonic or something, right? New York Philharmonic or one of those kind of situations. And you know, Buddy never read anything. He just listened and learned whatever it was. And when he did that, the guy's like, well, you want to do the rehearsal? And he's like, no, you guys go ahead and play. I'm going to listen. So he sits and listens to them play all the material. He goes, I'll see you guys tonight. He comes in and nails it as if he had rehearsed with them for a year, just by listening to them playing it. He knew all the kicks, stops, everything, where they were going with it, dynamically, and destroyed it.
And for me, to announce it before you do it, to be like, yeah, I'm not going to pull it off afterwards. Usually you're going to eat your words, you know, because that's some badass stuff. There's no way. I mean, that's just that's like the double. I mean, that's just the PIMP of playing right there. I mean, and they said, you know, on that show, on that one interview in particular, he's like, you don't even have a drum kit at your house. He's like, why would I practice? And then after you listen to him, you're like, well, why would you practice? You know, you invented this playing. You know, that everything that we do pretty much is you know, those old cats that, you know.
All right. So my second question is this: You've owned a lot of gear. I know you have.
Yeah, I've owned a lot of gear.
Yeah, you've owned a lot of gear. What is that one piece of gear or drum set that you wish that you didn't get rid of?
All of them. Every one of them. Every one of them. In particular, all the Australian, the Brady stuff. He's not doing it anymore, and you know, I've got one snare left, and it's probably worth 20 grand or something. For his birthday on the internet, we all the players that had his stuff, because he just retired, because I could call down there, because you remember Sonar would let me.
Yeah, play different snares. Yeah,
I mean, when he gave me a snare, it would still be 3 grand or something. It'd be like, but you do it anyways. And he quit making them, and man, they're awesome. I wouldn't have got rid of those, and I would have hung on to them. Not for well, all of them I would have kept, but you know, you just probably shouldn't sell any gear if you don't have to. But just for the you know, knowing that guy that he hand made them, you know, that's, you know, in these drums that you're selling, talking to the people making them, that's, you know, that's sacred, instrument. Like there's a lot of joy and pain and things that goes through instruments like that, and to be able to make it and talk to the guy that hand makes it, And he was a cool guy. He was like, I wanted some cool, crazy color, and I was going to have him build me a kit. And he's like, I don't know what's wrong with you guys. I got a white one that sits in a corner, and he's like, it plays better than anything in there. Nobody wants it. They want all this crazy finish. I guess he wanted to sell that kit he had over there. Of course, I couldn't afford it, never. But I wish I would have got some more of his stuff before he stopped making
Yeah, he
it.
gives me that guy's Brady. He's
Brady,
Australian, right?
Australian.
He's the first guy to make a stave snare drum like that. Now, they used to make stave congas and stuff in the old days. That's what they were made. They were made as a stave drum, which is the wood. You take all the pieces of wood and you glue them all together, right? And so Brady was really the first guy to do a stave snare drum.
Yeah, the family went all the way back into like
Oh,
war days or something, and they got the little soldier guy, drummer boy, for the logo, but just really good sounding stuff. It's just really, really
Hard
good.
to find. If
Well,
you do,
and then
you'll pay
Kim,
over.
his daughter, works. She's a rep for Sonar and Sabian. So, and I was endorsing Sonar and Sabian. So that was when she left. Her dad's getting up in age or whatever, so she left the company and worked for Sonar or Honar or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. So she was in the same camp. Both my camps were, joined in some way or another. But Sonar was so awesome to me. They gave me some great drums. Of course, when you're not active anymore, they don't just send you a bunch of free $10,000 drum kits. But him and I designed two that was just out of this world.
Oh, yeah.
And then every time I would get it, I would get a 6-inch to the 18-inch on every. I'd be like, well, what do you want to make two kits out of it? Double bass and get to match because you really could. You could bust down a jazz kit out of it, or whatever kind of kit you wanted to do. Sometimes you want those older big toms back in the day, like those Ludwig ones. I mean, the toms were that. I don't even know how we used to set up. I mean, but you got me into the short stack, which what they all are like that now. But I love it, and plus the height difference too. You can, but yeah. This is so cool, by the way, Max. Man, we needed a place like this, clinics and things like that. Nothing like that was going on around this area. You'd have to go pretty far to do something like this. I'm sitting here looking around. This is cool, man. We needed this. It reminds me of the store, the old store. Yeah, it's got the same vibe.
Yeah.
It really does.
I wanted it to have that same sort of feel.
It does, man. I miss that too. He's always at the shop. You just call over there, and any questions or needs or any new gear that's out, I'll be like, hey Max, what's going on? Well, man, I've tried those. They suck, or they're good, or whatever. You ain't gonna get that with any other place. I'll tell you that. That kind of service and then people that actually knows that's played them and listened to them. I bet every one of them sound great. You got them all in tune. Gosh, that'd be a nice, for my wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just give me that and we'll call it even, man. It's all good. Yeah.
Well, man, let's hear it from Matt. I'm excited to have him.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I don't know if you guys have questions for him. You may have some questions that you've been hanging on to. Anybody got any questions for him?
Yeah, I got a question.
Go ahead, buddy.
How was that Metallica tour?
It was awesome. So we were walking around backstage, and the first thing is we didn't know that you couldn't touch your own gear. The union guys get it. So we get out and they said, don't touch it. We're like, man, we're going to practice. And no, don't touch it. And they were serious, They're like, so, but we were walking to every doorway with our they're like, dude, we know who you are. We seen, so we didn't know. So yeah, but it was awesome. Yeah, I mean, we were so nervous he was going to get sick, I did. I threw up one day. It got so hot. The sun was just perfectly right there. And I'm not going to say that I was hungover or anything. But the sun hit and we do this big ending. Dun, dun, dun. I get up, stand up, and throw up, and I try to get up and stand away from the drum kit and just all over Kurt Hammond's hand. Dude, I'm like, the roadies are like, I still had the rest of the tour to go with those guys. I mean, it was in the way. I don't know. You got to go, you got to go. Yeah, I'd like to think I was sober that day and just had too much water. But the show, yeah, it can. Too much water is really bad for you. I've seen it go. But it was always about the show though. We played a good show. The show made it, and then the kit didn't get anything on it. We just let the guitar player deal with that.
I got two questions.
Mhm.
Polar opposite questions. First, when you're out there with Lars, how hard does he really hit?
He hits pretty hard. He's great. He's did a lot of great recordings. Live, it's not so good for me. I'm not a huge fan of it live. The parts he wrote, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. He doesn't practice very much, and his technique's weird. He muffles all the drums. He's getting a little better though about doing that. I hear. I talk to the sound man a lot, and I'm not knocking Lars. Oh, Lars Ulrich, don't think that I am.
Oh, he bad.
He's a bad man. I mean, he wrote some of the great. I mean, that's who I wanted to be growing up, But he hits pretty hard. He hits really hard. Yes, I think he's backed off a little bit though now that they went to in-ears and stuff. Because back then it was before in-ears was out and everything. So he had a PA basically behind him, a small PA, and so I went to do a drum check for him because we have the acoustic guitar, so I had the in-ears and stuff, and I hit the kick drum and I had hair back in it, parted it and blew it all forward. Wow, So yeah, you'll get hearing damage from listening to them out front for sure. The sound man just pushes it as fast, loud as it can go, without I guess killing people, but you probably will be deaf. But yeah, he hits really really hard.
And the second question, if me, you, Max, well, I'm 51, so you're not far behind me. Max is probably, 3 or 4 years ahead of me.
I'm 60. I'll be 62 in about 3 weeks.
Okay, so we're still close in age, but if we can all go back with the exception of Max and his dad playing and being around drums all his life, if guys from our generation could go back, because the young kids now have YouTube and all that, if we could go back
and have what
and
they
see
have,
videos of Percaro and all these guys with their technique, how many of these guys our age would be 10 times better than what they are now?
that'd be huge. Yeah, it would be, but I wouldn't. I've thought about that a lot, and it could almost intimidate you to not even have played. You know what I mean? Seeing how great they really are, but I'm not gonna lie, man. If I could have had a camera though, I would have filmed every drummer. So I don't know what would have happened. It'd have been a different thing. Would we have been into it as much?
Yeah.
I don't know. I still do it the same way. I don't watch a video on it or anything. I'll just listen to it in the car. Like say if I'm gonna play with somebody and they need me to learn something, I just listen and
I think that interestingly enough, learning to learn a song by listening to it and not having any reference point of anybody playing it or seeing him play it does a couple of things. One thing it makes it tougher on you, so you have to really listen, which is the thing that we need to work on more than anything as a drummer.
For sure.
Is listening to everybody else that you're playing with and not just listen to yourself. And so because you have to listen so intently to it and not see somebody play it, I do think that there's something about how you manipulate how you play it, right? It's on that side, on the other side.
I can't even see it. I was gonna be slick about it right in front of me.
And I think that it also, having to work through it really teaches you some other things. You end up coming out with something a little more because you have to work it out. And then when you see them actually do it, and you're like, oh, that's how they did it. You already had a technique that you came up with that worked, right? But it may not have been perfect. So then you actually see them do it, and you can then play it yourself.
That's how you invent a style, right? There's a style.
And
right
it enables you to learn how to write parts and things like that, because you had to really listen to it and dig into it and slow the record down. From guys my age, turn it slower. Or I stuck my finger on the record until I listened to it at a slow pace, because the record, I couldn't get it to go slow enough. Didn't have 16 on it. It only had 33. So and I think having to do that, it just made you a different player. You listened to music differently.
You have to listen to it so much. I remember my dad saying, "My God, the neighbors know how to play that song by now, man." Like, how could you not know how to play that thing by now?
When we were kids, we played in the basement, and every time we played Ride in the Storm Out by REO Speedwagon. My dad came home one time and said, I don't ever hear you play that song ever again.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Just play that song one
Don't
more time.
play it ever again.
Your ass. Yeah.
I remember
Sick 'em.
saying if you can't learn another song, you're not gonna play anymore.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it'd be the same thing. And now I get it now, but back then I'm just like, what? You know, it
What are you
crushes you.
talking
Like,
about?
this is the baddest song ever. Don't you just love hearing it over and over? Yeah, he crushed me with that though. He said, damn, if you don't know about the neighbors know. He said, the dog can play that song on drum. If you don't know how to play it by now, you don't need to listen to it no more.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but you know, and that's the thing too for drummers is, it's, you can learn on an electric kit. I couldn't imagine that I'd learn just on an electric. I love what they are. I'm a huge fan of them, but you got to hit them drums, because
Yeah.
there's difference when that loud sound hits you.
Yeah.
It's
That
it's
sensitivity,
it's a violent instrument. It's loud and it's present, and you can't be afraid of them. You need to, as a beginner, I think you probably should start on a kit.
I tell parents all the time,
Yeah.
man, when they come in about that.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, they want to make noise.
Yeah.
That's what the kids want to do when you first start
you're
playing.
Practicing on a pillow and stuff like that, you've already got the concept of what the kit sounds like, though.
Yeah.
Stuff without one or the other, you wouldn't really know what you was going for. You'd just be beating the
I agree.
not knowing what you're really after. You got to get into that kick, snare, hat, and I think that I'm going to do that more often too. Is just, and I'm already down. I'm getting lazy. Well, in the amount of channels it takes, but just kick, snare, and hat. I mean, it forces you to stay. It forces you to get creative.
Oh yeah.
If you take all those
Yeah.
things away, and then these big fills and stuff being written, like going through the ride, but you stayed on the hi-hat. I was sitting there thinking about hi-hat stuff that you could do. I'm like, man, you can just stay over here and do. It kind of forces you to stay focused on the meat and potatoes. So
Yeah, I was, like about a year ago, I put the biggest drum set that I could put together. I had 3 floor toms and the whole thing. You know what I mean? And it was so much fun to play for a little while. And then I was like, man, I can't